Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news tonight on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Frank Rausen Pereira, and before we begin with the headlines, let's get you an appeal where Rajya Sabha TV would like to appeal to all its viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember to wear a face mask whenever you step outside and wash your hands and face regularly, and ensure that you maintain physical distancing while stepping outdoors. Remember that these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. And now let's bring you the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates new multi-storied flats for MPs, calls it just one example of how construction started by NDA government is being completed before schedule, asserts that decades-old problems don't end by avoiding them, but by facing and finding solutions for them. Prime Minister Narendra Modi praises work done by Parliament during monsoon session despite COVID pandemic, says that the high productivity of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha ever since his government came to power indicates a new energy and historic phase in the nation's development. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman pitches India as an investment destination for the world, assures that economic reforms will continue, details how multinational companies have benefited from reduction in corporate tax. National Crisis Management Committee headed by Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba meets to review of Cyclone Nivar. Cyclone expected to hit Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry by Wednesday. In the wake of COVID-19 cases rising in some states, Supreme Court seeks details from the centre. Recovery rate touches 93.68. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday inaugurated the multi-story flats for members of Parliament in New Delhi through video conferencing. These environment-friendly flats replace the old bungalows on Dr. BD Road in the national capital. Noting that the working of Parliament reflects new energy, the Prime Minister stressed that the reason for this is the nation's desire for change. He also praised Rajya Sabha for delivering 100% efficiency. Here's more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday highlighted efforts of the members of Parliament during the COVID-19 pandemic, stating that over 300 new MPs were attending Parliament for the first time. The Prime Minister said it was noteworthy that Parliament proceedings continued even during the pandemic with new rules and precautions. He said it was praiseworthy that not only did both houses work even on weekends, but that every party worked to ensure the smooth conduct of the monsoon session.
कोरोना काल में अनेक प्रकार की सावधानियों के बीच नई व्यवस्थाओं के साथ संसद का सत्र चला। पक्ष और विपक्ष के सभी साथियों ने एक एक पल का सदुपयोग किया। दोनों सदनों द्वारा बारी बारी से काम करना हो या फिर शनिवार और रविवार को भी कार्यवाही करना, हर किसी ने सहयोग किया, सभी दलों ने सहयोग किया।
The Prime Minister pointed out that while the 16th Lok Sabha passed 15% more bills than the 15th, in its first session itself, the current 17th Lok Sabha did 135% work in the time allotted to it. The Rajya Sabha achieved 100% efficiency.
पिछली 16वीं लोकसभा ने पहले की तुलना में 15% ज्यादा बिल्स पास किए। 70वीं लोकसभा के पहले सत्र में तय समय से 135% काम हुआ। राज्यसभा ने भी 100% काम किया। ये परफॉर्मेंस पिछले 2 दशकों में सबसे ज्यादा है। पिछली सर्दियों में भी लोकसभा की प्रोडक्टिविटी 110% से ज्यादा रही है।
The Prime Minister said MPs of both houses had worked to take Parliament to newer heights of productivity. Referring to the new multi-story flats for MPs, he said the NDA government had ensured their construction and completion before the scheduled time. The Prime Minister asserted that age-old problems are resolved not by avoiding them, but finding solutions for them.
लंबे अरसे तक सांसदों को होटल में रहना पड़ता है। इसके कारण आर्थिक बोझ भी बहुत आता है। उनको भी अच्छा नहीं लगता है, लेकिन अब मजबूरन करना पड़ता था। लेकिन इस समस्या को दूर करने के लिए गंभीरता से प्रयास 2014 के बाद विशेष रूप से शुरू हुए। दशकों से चली आ रही समस्याएं टालने से नहीं, उनका समाधान खोजने से समाप्त होती है।
Prime Minister Modi pointed out that his government had ended a 23-year-long wait by building the Ambedkar International Center. Similarly, he said his government built the War Memorial at India Gate and also the new Central Information Commission building.
23 वर्षों के लंबे इंतजार के बाद डॉक्टर अंबेडकर इंटरनेशनल सेंटर का निर्माण इसी सरकार में हुआ। सेंट्रल इंफॉर्मेशन कमीशन की नई बिल्डिंग का निर्माण इसी सरकार में हुआ। देश के वीर शहीदों की स्मृति में इंडिया गेट के पास वॉर मेमोरियल का निर्माण भी, उसे करने का भी सौभाग्य हमारी सरकार को मिला। हजारों पुलिस के जवान शहीद हुए हैं। उनकी याद में भी नेशनल पुलिस मेमोरियल का निर्माण भी इसी सरकार के द्वारा हुआ।
The Prime Minister praised Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, who was also present on the occasion, for his efficient stewardship of the lower house. He asserted that 18th Lok Sabha will also play an equally significant role in ushering the nation into the new decade. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has assured the industry that momentum of economic reforms will continue to make India a hotspot of global investment. Addressing the National MNCs Conference 2020 organized by the industry chamber CII, Sitharaman said that India has turned the COVID-19 crisis into an opportunity to push economic reforms which had been pending for decades. She added that the financial sector is being professionalized and the government will continue with disinvestment agenda.
Big, small, medium are all clearly facing a reset exercise, and that reset is only being strengthened by the government's Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat, again, is not something to close India down to be, so self-sufficient only from its own and its own materials and its own skills. The call for Atmanirbhar is more to say, utilize our strength optimally, make sure our skills are able to calibrate and be of use, and make sure that India stands up on its strengths rather than be intimidated by the challenges.
Well, high-level central teams have been deputed to Uttar Pradesh, Punjab and Himachal Pradesh to support them in COVID-19 response and management. The three states have recently witnessed a marked rise in the number of active coronavirus cases. Health Ministry said that these three members' teams will support the state efforts towards strengthening containment, surveillance, testing, infection prevention and control measures and efficient clinical management of the positive cases. Earlier, high-level teams were sent to Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Manipur and Chhattisgarh. Well, the Supreme Court on Monday asked Delhi, Maharashtra, Gujarat and Assam governments to file status reports on the current COVID-19 situation in the respective states and preparedness to deal with the surge of cases in the coming months. While expressing concern over the COVID-19 situation, the Apex Court said that the pandemic situation in Delhi has worsened and it has gone out of control in Gujarat. A bench headed by Justice Ashok Bhushan asked the Delhi government about steps taken to combat the spike of COVID and wanted to know about the present situation. Justice Bhushan said things have worsened in the last 2 weeks in the national capital. It also noted Solicitor General Tushar Mehta's submission that the Union Home Minister has taken specific steps with regard to COVID-19 situation in Delhi. The bench, which was hearing a suo motu case pertaining to the management of the COVID-19 crisis and mishandling of dead bodies, posted the matter for further hearing on Friday. Well, moving on now to the latest on the COVID vaccine situation. A COVID-19 vaccine developed by the University of Oxford and AstraZeneca PLC prevented a majority of people from getting the disease in a large trial, another promising development in the quest to end the pandemic. The vaccine stopped an average of 70% of participants from falling ill, and early analysis of the data shows. That's below the high bar set by Pfizer Inc. and Moderna Inc., but effectiveness rose to 90% for one of the two dosing regimes, using half a dose followed by a full one later. The other method showed 62% effectiveness. The findings were reviewed after 131 trial participants contracted COVID-19. Among those who received the vaccine, there were no severe cases of COVID-19 in trial and no participants were hospitalized. Well, let's now get you some more COVID-related information, where over 85 lakh people have recovered so far from the COVID pandemic, improving the national recovery rate to 93.68%. Well, with nearly 85.62 lakh patients having recovered from COVID, recoveries are now 20 times more than the number of active cases. Over 41,000 patients were discharged, while new cases were added in the 44,000 in the last 24 hours. There are 4,43,486 active cases in the country, which is 4.85% of the total reported cases so far. Meanwhile, 10 states, union territories are contributing about 78.74% of the new cases. Delhi reported 6,746 cases in the last 24 hours. Maharashtra recorded 7,753 new cases, while Kerala reported 5,254 daily cases on Sunday. Well, the fatality rate which stands at 1.46%, has been witnessed. Health Ministry informed that 511 cases of fatalities were reported in the past 24 hours. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Defeat coronavirus. Let us always remember, wear a mask. Wash hands. Follow physical distancing. Together, we'll succeed. Together, we'll win against COVID-19. 5 million subscribers. 1 million subscribers in less than 10 months. over 17 million hours of content watched online. RSTV, one of the fastest growing YouTube channel. 5 million subscribers, the count is on.
Welcome back. You're watching News Tonight on Rajya Sabha Television. I'm Frank Rausen Pereira. Well, the first session of the newly elected 17th Bihar Legislative Assembly commenced on Monday. A 5-day session will continue till November 27th. This is the first session after the assembly elections in the state. The inaugural session commenced with members being administered the oath of office by Pro Tem Speaker Jitan Ram Manjhi. Deputy Chief Ministers and BJP members Tarkishore Prasad and Renu Devi were the first ones to be sworn in. Ministers who were administered oath included Vijay Kumar Chaudhary, Bijendra Prasad Yadav, Sheila Kumari, Amrendra Pratap Singh, Rampreet Paswan, Ram Surat Kumar. The ceremony was conducted at the Central Hall of the Legislature building with strict adherence to COVID-19 norms. New Assembly Speaker will be elected on November 25th. Governor Phagu Chauhan will address joint session of the state legislature on November 26th. On the last day of the session, a vote of thanks and government reply will be given. In the new assembly, NDA has 125 seats. An independent MLA has also extended support to the ruling alliance. Well, some more poll-related news now, where nominations for the 8th and final phase of District Development Council elections in Jammu and Kashmir started on Monday. Even as nominations for the 5th phase came to a close on the day, Monday was also the last date for withdrawal of candidature for the 4th phase. This will be the first major electoral exercise in the Union Territory after Article 370 was abrogated last August. The election to 20 District Development Councils will be held in 8 phases. The first phase will be on 28th November. The last phase of polling will be on 18th of December, while counting will be held on the 22nd of December. Meanwhile, of course, by-polls to vacant panchayat and municipal seats will be held simultaneously. Election to DDCs and panchayat by-polls will be through ballot, while the election to municipal seats will be through electronic voting machines. In a major diplomatic endeavor, India is briefing heads of missions of various countries about the recent efforts by Pakistan to foment terrorism in the country. On Monday, Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla apprised a select group of foreign diplomats of the foiled terrorist attack in Nagrota district in Jammu and Kashmir. Security forces had uncovered the terrorist plans on the 19th of November. This was the first of several such briefings that the MEA plans to conduct. The Ministry of External Affairs is planning to share the information about the Pakistani plans as widely as possible with the international community about the implications of the incident on the security, diplomacy and battle against terrorism. The heads of missions who took part in the briefing on Monday were also provided evidence recovered from the terrorists that clearly proved that they are Pakistani origins. They were also briefed on how the terrorists got into India through a tunnel in the Samba sector. Preliminary investigations have revealed the terrorists belong to Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed. It was also pointed out how that year 2020 has seen 200 incidents of terrorist violence. 199 terrorists have been killed in various operations. Another foreign policy news now, where Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla will pay an official visit to Nepal on November 26th. This will be the first visit of the Foreign Secretary to Nepal since he assumed charge. External Affairs Ministry said that the visit is in keeping with the tradition of regular high-level exchanges between the two countries and the priority India attaches to its relations with Nepal. During the two-day visit, Foreign Secretary will hold talks with his counterpart and other Nepalese dignitaries to discuss the wide-ranging bilateral cooperation between the two countries. Well, the National Crisis Management Committee, headed by Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba, held a virtual meeting on Monday to review the status of Cyclone Nivar. The cyclone is expected to hit the coastal areas of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry between Tuesday and Thursday. Chief Secretaries of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry briefed the NCMC about their preparedness and mentioned that the authorities are fully prepared to meet any eventuality. They also informed the NCMC about the coordination with the National Disaster Response Force and other agencies to tackle the challenge. The Director General of the India Meteorological Department said that the status is being shared with the states concerned. The NCMC directed that fishermen should not be allowed to venture out to sea and people living in kacha houses may be advised suitably according to the situation. The IMD said on Monday that the low pressure system in the Bay of Bengal has intensified into a depression. Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Karaikal have been put on red alert with the possibility of heavy to very heavy rainfall forecast on November 25th. An orange alert has been issued for Rayalaseema, Telangana, South Interior Karnataka and coastal Andhra Pradesh, where heavy rain is forecast during November 24th to 26th. Well, the Indian Navy began to conduct the 27th edition of the India-Singapore Bilateral Maritime Exercise SIMBEX 20 in the Andaman Sea. The 2020 edition of SIMBEX will continue till the 25th of November and will witness participation by INS Rana and Chetak helicopters and indigenously built corvettes Kamorta and Karmuk. INS Sindhuraj and P-8I maritime aircraft will also participate in the exercise. The Singapore Navy will be represented by frigates Intrepid and Steadfast. The frigates will be joined by S-70B helicopters and Endeavour, which is a landing ship tank. The exercise is being conducted as a non-contact at sea only exercise due to the challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and leaders cutting across party lines wished Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla on his birthday.
हमारे कर्तृत्ववान मितभाषी हमारे अध्यक्ष श्रीमान ओम बिरला जी का जन्मदिवस भी है। ओम जी को बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। आप स्वस्थ रहें, दीर्घायु हो और देश की ऐसे ही सेवा करते रहें, ईश्वर से मेरी यही प्रार्थना है।
Meanwhile, former Assam Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi passed away on Monday in Guwahati while undergoing treatment for post-COVID-19 complications. He was 84. The veteran Congress leader was first admitted to a hospital on August 26th after testing positive for COVID-19 and was released for a brief period before being admitted again on November 2nd. His condition deteriorated on November 21st following multi-organ failure and was put on invasive ventilation. Gogoi was the MLA from the Tithabor Assembly constituency since 2001. He was also a 6-time parliamentarian and union minister twice. President Ramnath Kovind condoled the demise of the former Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi and said that his passing away marks the end of an era. In a Twitter message, the President said his long tenure in office was a period of epochal change in the state. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu also condoled the death of the Congress veteran leader Tarun Gogoi and said that his contribution to public service will always be remembered. Taking to Twitter, the Vice President expressed his heartfelt condolences to the bereaved family and friends. Prime Minister Narendra Modi too condoled the death of Tarun Gogoi. In a Twitter message, the Prime Minister described him as a popular leader and a veteran administrator. Congress's leader Rahul Gandhi paid his respects to the former Chief Minister and he said Gogoi was a true leader. Taking to Twitter, Rahul Gandhi said that for him, Gogoi was a great and wise teacher. He also expressed his condolences to Gogoi's son, Gaurav Gogoi. And with that, it's a wrap on this newscast. But before we leave, Rajya Sabha TV would like to make an appeal to all its viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember to wear a face mask and also wash your hands and face regularly. Maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. These simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. That's it from me. See you again next time.